wanted to make a video while cooking. Why not? There's another video I'm probably gonna make. It seems interesting. But for now, I just want to make this video. And we had a talk. Somebody was talking about the pettition. I've seen lots of videos on this, like several videos on the petition for mixed race people to be assigned a different category other than choosing one race or another. I was like, when I looked at it, I was all for it until I saw what the definition of it was. Is one thing I'm not okay with. Other than that, I mean, it seems pretty good to me. But the one thing they were saying was that mixed race would include anyone who's 25% or more another ethnic origin. So like 25 to 50% basically. Because you can't really get out of those percentages. Anyway. So to me, that's really haphazard, I think, kind of. I know people are trying to say, okay, it's about lineage. But to me, it's really not about lineage when we're really saying that, like, someone who has one grandparent that's Swedish and all the rest are from Ghana. That person would be included as a mixed race person. Genetically, they'd be 75% black, 25% white. And some people would be like, why not? Well, if you look at, like, other genetic studies, genomic studies or whatever, on Black American people, you'll see that on average, Black American people are, 75% black, 25% white. Sometimes they have some Native American. But you see that often. So I mean, it's not like that would really set anyone aside, like, differently. Like, Black people would be considered mixed, basically, on average. So, in America, we wouldn't really have many Black people. As you have to think, like, Snoop Dogg, for example, it's only 71% Black. The rest is Native American and white. He would be considered a mixed-race man, according to the petition. A lot of people try to address this to mean, basically, lighter-skinned people and mixed people, biracials and stuff. Yes, it would include many multi-generational mixed people and biracial people, but it would also include Black people who are really just Black. I mean, that's kind of silly, I think, to make them mixed. And I always thought, like, if you're a quarter of another race, I don't really consider that, like, enough to really be considered mixed race. Even the other way around. I mean, if you're 25% Black and 75% white, you can look at a lot of people who are this biological setup, and you see most of them look more white than anything. Even, like, Madikwe looks more white, and she is a darker skinned person for being only quarter Black. But I mean, a lot of people seem to not pay attention to, like, the requirements, and I didn't really appreciate, like, the requirements. To me, I think, like, the mixed race should be people who are, like, 50% one race, 50% another race, 40%, even 35%. But, like, 25%, that's way too low. You could see, like, plenty of people who say they're 25% Native American, 75% white, they don't look a thing like they're Native American. You see that with basically any race that you're 1/4 of, you're not really going to look like that race because it's only 1/4. You have 3/4 that show that you're more whatever other race you are. So that's why I didn't really agree with it. Personally, myself, I mean, I'm like 30% black. And I wouldn't like consider myself to be put in that category completely. It would just, to me, I think you need to have it where it's like, like a higher percentage. At least 1/4 to me just doesn't seem sensible. I mean, making the whole mixed population very huge and then monoracial people very small. A lot of Hispanics would have to put mixed race. A lot of black people would have to put mixed race. The only people I could think of that don't really have to put their mixed race, according to that, would be maybe Asian people. And many white people probably wouldn't, but some would still. Especially since there's like that whole movement where people want it. I know they didn't do it, but they want it like North African and Middle Eastern heritage to be considered another subset of its own. So, I mean, I'm just saying, there are a lot of people who are white who have that ancestry as well, but it doesn't really show. If you're 1/4 Middle Eastern and 3/4 white, then you're clearly not, Middle Eastern or mixed race. You're gonna look mostly white. So, yeah, that's basically my opinion on it. I don't really have anything else to say. I just think that I also kind of agree, with the fact that, yeah, there should be some kind of designation of mixed race people, but I just think that it should have smaller qualifications, requirements. Like it should be a smaller range. I mean, it's quite easy. What's the mid-most percentages? That's mixed, in my opinion. Mid-most would be anywhere from 1/3 to 2/3 evenly, because if you think of it, 1/3 or less black, white, 1/3 to 2/3 mixed, and 2/3 and not black would mean basically it's evenly distributed. And I understand on the white end of it, of course, nobody wants that to be, because, we come from a history of white supremacy and white purity. And so those of us who have mixed ancestry, it's wrong in our society. It's considered wrong to basically muddy. I'm not saying it myself, but I'm saying that's how it's basically seen as, like tainting the white race. And if we don't really acknowledge that, we don't acknowledge white supremacy in itself, then why are we still trying to live within its requirements? So, yeah, that's why I think that it should be anyone who's less than a third to 2/3 and 2/3 not. But I do, like I said, like where the petitioning's going, and I do agree that it should. I do agree that there should be something, and this is a good direction to go in. Seriously, if you think of it, if we have it white or black, that's just not right, obviously. So, this or, like, how it is, no, I don't like, instilling that you have to pick one race or another. That's just not right. So that's all I have to say on this topic. I'm going to end it now. All right, thanks for listening.